I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty at Rio.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these big strokes.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We are back for this week's edition of the MMA Analysis podcast episode, I'm guessing here, 382. Let's just call it that. After I think it was a 3-week streak of showing up, there was a possibility that the Nashville man was going to make an appearance, but
I killed it.
Apparently he's only available one day. He's only available one day a week, apparently, allegedly.
At least he was willing to show up.
Yeah,
but
that one day
So
I
he said.
had shit going on, so yeah.
He'll
It
be
is
back
what it
next
is.
week probably. So
I guess he's having a second wind or a midlife crisis. He missed hearing the soulful ears, the soulful voice, as one would say, of the bluegrass man, the Kentucky guy, the Rupp supporter. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. What can I say? It's because they're back in the top 10 of the country. I think the Wildcats, the Sodsmen. It's almost horse season. What's going on?
Yeah, it's almost probably my favorite month of the year, man. We got some March
April,
Madness.
Right?
March into April, yeah. I mean, but yeah, March is a fun time, man. I think it's going to be just an absolute crazy year this year. Should be fun. Go out and grab you a little bit of those Kentucky Wildcats at around 20-1 though. Like, I think,
man, you
I
jump
think,
off the ship and jump back on the ship.
I know it's so ridiculous.
I am the most pessimistic Kentucky fan you'll ever meet in your life. I will call us trash every single fucking week and then root like a motherfucker for them. That team's not bad, man. If you watch a lot of college ball, you know that tournament time guards win championships, and I think we got 3 of the best guards in the entire country. So we'll see. They should not be 20-1 to win the title, though. They're one of the 7-8 best teams in the country, and they're 20-1 to win the title.
I don't agree. Gonzaga, I think, is a wide favorite, if you ask me, but that's just my opinion.
Against that, they don't have the.
It might be their time this year, Wes.
They don't have the stable of Caucasians that they usually have over in
Australian Caucasians.
Yeah, we'll see.
New Kiwi Caucasians, yeah.
It's gonna be a fun year. I think our little analysis, March Madness brackets that we do every year
all right.
should be pretty fun.
Yeah, this is going to be wide open this year. Going to be no clear-cut favorites. I mean, other than what I just told you, but there's definitely not one team that everyone talking about like, oh, they're the clear team. They got 3 or 4 NBA players on it like last year, and obviously that team didn't win it either. But yeah, it could be wide open.
There's one team with 3 clear-cut NBA players on it.
Oh, you're going to say your team?
It's true. There's 3 first-rounders on that team.
Oh, not 3 lottery picks. Not 3 top 10 picks.
Well, no, but I mean,
that's how it was.
The quote-unquote greatest coach ever couldn't even get to the fucking Final Four with 2 of the top 5, 2 years ago. So,
that's right.
I like our team, but you're right, man. It's wide open. It's gonna be fun.
Shaun, what do you got for me tonight?
What's up with your boy, man? Is he down? What happened?
Who, McNutty?
Yeah, what happened to the God? Yeah.
McJesus has been hurt, so he's been out for 5 games. But like the Lord and Savior, he heals faster than any person I know of, and
he'll be back by Sunday, is what you're saying.
He's probably going to be back by
so that
this
points
weekend.
the whole points Brinks truck that you have is still pretty safe.
No, because his teammate has been absolutely crushing it. Yeah, so that's going to be unfortunate, but I mean, I can't be too sad because the Oilers are winning. They're first in the Pacific at this second. So
they're actually
it's a tight race. So but we could finally have some more playoffs in Edmonton, and that doesn't happen very often. So pretty pumped about that. Other than that, I lost my ass on the card last weekend, which was fun. So I think we'll go over that pretty quickly. But
Shaun, I'm actually going to a hockey game this weekend. Rangers and Sharks, Saturday night.
Did you charge $800 for that losing week, Shaun? Or
I did not. That's good. The Rangers are fun to watch just because they don't play much defense and they have decent offense, so you should see some goals. Panarin's unreal on that team, the bread man.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
They have pretty good seats. I think 16 rows from the ice, so it's pretty low.
Yeah, that's good.
At the Garden, yeah, it'd be pretty good. Okay, but we'll talk about last week's card, which I was in Atlantic City, so I did not see. Even though I guess I could have seen it, but
was not worth it.
Was not worth it. It was luckily
there was some decent fights on it, but man,
how was this arena, Rio Rancho? Like, anything special there? I mean,
how many tickets did they sell? What did it say? Attendance 6,500.
Whoa, really?
6,000.
Yeah, 6,500 people.
That's ugly.
Hey, they still made $600,000.
Is it though? I mean, it's like pro wrestling crowds, honestly. I mean, other than like their big events. I mean,
this is what happens when you go to fucking Rio Rancho and take Jon Blachowicz and fucking Corey Anderson. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's 6,500 for a UFC fight card is fucking pretty bad, man.
It's weekly now, man. If this shit was only,
I know,
pay-per-view, it'd be a different game.
I get it. I get why it's 6,500, but seriously, could you ever imagine that like 5, 6, 7 years ago? No. Absolutely not.
What I think UFC should do is I think they really should be more international and just go to major cities and screw. I mean, I guess it sounds bad, but I mean, there's really no business going to a city like Rio Rancho, New Mexico. I mean, candidly, there really isn't. Other than the fact that there's a bunch of fighters that are from there.
You can't put like a fight card like this in like a major city and probably get 500 people there, though. You know, like.
And I guess with the ESPN deal, like, I mean, that's what's pulling in the most money for them. So it kind of has to be in the North American time zone. So they got to find random ass places, because I'm sure that's why they don't put on more and more international events, just because they know where their money's coming from. The biggest money they get.
They have done these televised cards. Like, I guess it doesn't really matter if ESPN's okay with it. I mean. But a lot of these fights aren't even on ESPN. They're on they're on the Plus app here, and then like they're somewhere else locally. They've had TV fight cards like in the middle of the day. I mean, I guess it's just a matter of, probably this time of year it's difficult because there's so much college basketball, and they don't want to interrupt all that coverage. But I mean, once you get past, into March, I mean. You have all those months before football season where you can just run cards any time of the day you want.
Yeah, I would think logistics wise and shit though, just putting them in Rio Rancho over,
I'm sure.
Going overseas.
Yeah, more regulation. You got to mess with judges, refs, athletic commissions. It just the bottom line. But
I mean, they still brought in $600,000 in ticket sales.
Yeah, but what is that? What does it cost to? What do the fighter costs though? It's a loss, isn't it?
Run down this card. You think many guys are making more than fucking $10,000 on this card?
Blachowicz.
And then imagine having to fly them all like to Europe or something, put them up in Europe, pay for flights and all that shit. Yeah. That $600,000 goes down even further. Fight cards like this, I get why they're in fucking Rio Rancho or wherever the fuck Jeremy and them drove down to.
Texas.
Where was that place?
Porter Helltown.
What the hell was it?
God, no, it was Hidalgo.
Hidalgo, yeah. Their fucking AC went out. And could you imagine
Bush
that?
League, man. Bush League shit. But I guess that's what this card deserved, is a pretty rough locale.
Yeah, and there were actually a few like slightly okay names on it, I think, and they're
Yeah, that's
just
decent undercard. Let's go through it quickly. We got the first fight of the night was Rolian Paiva getting a KO victory over a, a guy who's faded for me, who I thought was decent, was Mark De La Rosa. I think there's a possibility he gets cut, even though his wife sticks around. That might be the only way he sticks around. I think this is Macy Chazen's first fight since that loss she had, and she just obliterated and dominated Shayna Young. This fight was a blowout. A fight that we all liked here, but of course Dumb Lance did not. Merab Dvalishvili, wide decision. Yeah, exactly.
10 plus takedowns, like
he
I
doesn't
said.
need. He doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need the. This is like early Habib style. It doesn't need to hold guys down. Just keeps taking him down over and over.
Demoralizes
them. Oh, totally. He might be one of the best offensive wrestlers in MMA currently.
Yep.
Devin Clark, decision. Daquan Townsend. Townsend's a never was. Holtzman, I'll say this is a pretty good victory over Jim Miller. It looks like he took over the fight late. It's one I didn't think was going to happen. This was a competitive fight on paper. The veteran Dodson got the TKO victory over Nathaniel Wood, and then, clearly the surprise of the undercard, Tim Means just getting absolutely destroyed by Daniel Rodriguez. Daniel, who is no longer a who. So I'll start with West. Just pick out a couple key moments. You don't need to go through every fight, but just a few key moments from this undercard.
Yeah, I think you're right about De La Rosa. He hasn't been the same since that loss to, I want to say it was Alex Perez, who was going on to be a pretty damn good fighter. Their kind of paths kind of veered at that point. They were both pretty hyped up, but yeah, De La Rosa is probably going to be cut. Dashishvili, those are the kind of guys you want your money on, those kind of guys. You know exactly what he's going to do, and what he does works. He does it so fucking well. Him at around minus 150 or so, I believe he was at for a while right before the fight. He ballooned up, but that was a crazy line. Holtzman in that third, that was a great fight, man. Jim Miller is a fucking legend. That dude is as tough as a fucking $2 steak. But Holtzman at the line he was at was very nice. I thought. Dotson, man, who I don't think that dude's had a knockout in like 6 or 7 years or something like that.
It was like 2000. I think it was 2013.
It's been like a while, man. Yeah, impressive though. Props to Dotson. He looked good in that fight. About as good as Dotson could look, I think. And yeah, Timmy means sad but true, man. That guy's just he looks bad too. Like his body and shit, his physique, just he doesn't look like the same guy as a couple years ago. I know he's had that leg break and shit like that. He's just had a lot of shit, it seems like, go wrong in the past couple years, and his chin it's deteriorating bad, man. He's been in some wars. I think it's about the beginning of the end for Tim Means.
Yeah, it might be the end of the road. New Shaun, pick out 3 fights here. Key takeaways from the prelim card.
Yeah, not too much to add other than what Wes said. Holtzman was just kind of the better athlete, the fresher athlete in that fight. Miller was able to tag him early on. It's just Miller doesn't have any power really, and I think that could lead to some bad things for Scott Holtzman. He got clipped against Ma before.
He gets hit a lot.
He gets hit a lot. Does. So against the upper echelon that have power, he might be in trouble. Nathaniel Wood, I guess it was just a bit too much of a step up. I thought it might have been a bit of an early stoppage, but I think Hodson was obviously on his way to winning a decision when he hits him like he did in the third. And then Timmy Means just had, just a couple of letdown spots. He had Nico Price hurt, and he had that Hail Mary comeback, and then he gets this late notice fight against Rodriguez. He just doesn't have what it takes to just put away fighters that he should anymore.
Yeah, that seems accurate. Yeah, just too much Main card. Again, and I always say this, I don't understand the difference if it's all one place, but fine. Lando Venata, Yancy Medeiros. I thought Medeiros would give him a much better fight, potentially win, just having the size advantage. But that I guess that wasn't the case. I guess Lando just kind of outclassed him on the feet. Is that how this played out?
Lando was just too quick.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say like completely outclassed Yancey. He just he threw a lot. He moved a lot. He looked, he looked like Lando.
It's definitely kind of boring. I didn't, not really a fan of Lando Venata when he fights like this. It's a lot of dancing around,
it's smarter, but it's definitely
smart,
not as fun
sure.
as him when he throws down. That's for sure. He
Yeah.
fought a smart fight though against a guy that had a ton of range on him and shit. So yeah, it's not classic Lando, but I think he had to get a win here, and he got it.
Fair enough.
All right. We also got Ray Borg getting a decision victory over Rogerio Bontorin. It seems like Borg kind of turned back the clock a bit and just dominated with wrestling now.
He he looked great against it. It's all a matter of competition, I think, though. But he looked great. He looked kind of classic Borg, but I mean, the guy missed weight again. It's just I don't want to harp on it too much. Guys had a lot of shit going on, but you can't. You just can't. I mean, he even after the fight, he was telling Dana and them how much he loved them and shit, and how much they've helped him, and he's sorry, but fuck, you missed weight again, dude. It's just not good.
Figure it out.
Yeah,
because he is decent when he gets in
there,
good,
but man,
you got to make weight.
He's a problem when his mind and everything is right. Like, I get he's had a ton of
consistency.
Shit. Yeah. He's when Ray Borg's on, he's a fucking problem. That wrestling and his top game is a serious problem, man. He's really good when he's on, but like Shaun said, consistency.
All right. Well, I don't even know what to say about this fight. The first of 2 DQs on the main card. Brock Weaver is a guy I was looking forward to seeing fight, and I don't even know what happened. Wes, can you describe what the hell happened in this fight?
I mean, I was kind of looking forward to seeing a little bit more of Weaver too. Man, even before the knee, it didn't seem like things were going to be going well for him. I know it wasn't much, a lot of the fight had happened, but it wasn't looking good for him. I'm actually a little bit more intrigued by seeing some more Vargas than Weaver after this fight, even though he lost.
I think Weaver got exposed a bit, and you probably, if you were kind of on the Weaver fade train, you might have lost your chance, because I don't think you'll get him as a
never see it again.
A big fave against anybody decent ever again.
Okay, understandable. We talked about one De La Rosa having a bad night. The other one, pretty good night. Clear decision over Mara Romero Barella. I mean, De La Rosa seems like a decent flyweight, but it's women's flyweight and the most shallow division in the UFC outside of, women's featherweight, which isn't a real division.
Hey, she's only one fight away from probably fighting for the champ.
She's other champs already cleared everybody else out, so that's fine. Let's move on. Oh my God, another DQ. Diego was gonna lose this fight, wasn't he?
Yes.
He's getting smoked.
Easy.
Yeah. Was he?
He was getting destroyed.
This is unbelievable. And then you hear his comments after the fight. That's like, I've given the fans everything. I deserve this DQ win or some bullshit.
Hey, smart vet move.
I mean, he just doubled up his cash that he wasn't going to fucking win. So,
smart decision.
We call Diego an idiot, but in this one, he made a correct financial decision.
He's just gonna donate it to his Lord and Savior anyway. So. I mean, it seems like we're all
or that new guru
or his trainer, that snake oil salesman. Yeah.
Oh, Ali?
No, you should look up this guy. He's fucking wild. Everybody's been doing interviews with him this week.
Oh, dude, you want to talk about Porto being weird and shit.
What's his name?
Oh, what the fuck's his name? Just
Fabian
Google
something,
Diego Sanchez. Coach.
Go to our boy
First thing that comes up.
Coach or manager?
Joshua Fabia.
Yeah, go to our boy Honky's
Yeah.
Twitter page. He's been like posting shit about him for like 2 days, just videos and shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Joshua Fabia warmed NA's. Where's the picture of this mook?
He's like 5'2", long hair. He just looks like a greasy guy.
Oh, this guy looks like a sleazeball.
Yeah, there's been so
He's
many
just hanging out, him and Diego. What is his deal?
He's brainwashing Diego, dog. This guy's
there's been so much written on him this week about the dumb shit. He warned the athletic commission that Diego might kill Chiesa when they fought, and
yeah,
like there's just
he had
dumb
some kind of
sports.
death submission or something that could kill him.
Wow,
this guy is just fraudulent. It's been pretty wild. He's got his spotlight this week, that's for sure. He was on Ariel's show. He was on Luke Thomas's show. He's getting interviewed by fucking every writer in the MMA field. Like this is his one and only time to shine.
Expose this guy, though. Like seriously, expose this fucking moron. Get him out there so people know. Diego's not going to be around for much longer, so don't let him latch on to one of these dudes that doesn't have a mush brain like Diego.
To be honest, the UFC should not really be letting Diego fight. I mean, just the way, like, if they actually care about, mental health and shit like that, you can tell me that Diego passes his tests and shit like that, but there needs to be some better testing because he's off. He's taken way too much damage in his career, and he needs to be put out to pasture.
Yeah, once you start talking like Diego and shit, you can, if you can't look at Diego from 10 years ago and not see the deterioration, like, I don't know what to say. That guy should not be fighting. Props to him for having enough gelatin still left to say I'm not fighting. I mean, that was a really, really smart decision on his part. And I actually agree with him. Like I can't say what you will about Diego, but the people that are pissed because they probably bet Pereira and they're like, Diego's a quitter and he's fucking, he's scared and all this. Like, this dude has been in the wars of wars with the best fighters in the company for fucking over a decade. Like, Diego's not scared to continue fighting. He made a smart decision, and I thought it was the right one, not because it wasn't like it was like a short little knee or something. He got fucking plowed,
cut open and shit.
Yeah, he got kneed bad, dude. I mean, even though he was well on his way to losing and shit, like, that knee was fucking bad, man. Like, fuck Pereira. Like, you should be
dumbass
disqualified.
All that stuff. I mean, maybe that'll get, like, there was 2 obviously DQs on this card. Maybe that'll open people's eyes about not throwing such dumbass strikes.
Yep. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it wasn't even like he, I really accidentally did it. That dude threw a like legitimate, straight, powerful knee when Diego was clearly down. It was bad. It's one of the worst illegal knees that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge proponent of it not even being illegal. Knees should not be illegal on the ground, but they are. You can't do that shit.
That's the rules.
Yep.
Okay. Well, main event. John Blockowitz, Corey Anderson.
Now, Corey.
Every single time Corey Anderson looks like he's on the press,
yep.
on the cusp of contendership, he mooks up badly. And this is ugly. KO'd badly. The blockhead, John Blockowitz, looking like he's the next guy for Dwight. Dwight was there looking at him.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I mean, that's not what I want, but that's probably what the UFC will do,
What
considering.
do you want?
I mean, the rematch with Reyes or something else, or heavyweight or Adesanya,
Don't say Rumble.
something
Rumble
exciting.
thing is so dumb.
rematch with Reyes or whenever our boy's fully healed off those knees. I'd really like to see that fight again.
Oh, Santos? They've been offering Santos supposedly guys that aren't even in the top 10 for his
I know, and
fight.
That's fucking a joke. Yeah.
As for this fight, I mean, this shit can happen, especially at the higher weight classes, especially with how mookie light heavyweight and heavyweight is. I'd probably still take that bet on Anderson. He has shown a better defense, but you get caught, and that chin is still sketchy. I think more times than not he wins this fight, but obviously on this one he got flatlined. So that's MMA for you.
Yeah, I thought he was looking pretty decent, and I think he wins this fight most of the time. But man, it's his chin is a problem. I mean, it's proven now. He
almost has to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, he can't
and he has been up to this point.
Yep.
In his recent run, but
and the shot that he got caught with, man, like the combo he threw and fucking got caught with that punch was bad. Like it's some low level shit that he got caught with. Should never happen to him at this point, especially knowing that his chin is a little iffy. But I mean, after watching all that shit after the Johnny Walker fight, it almost feels like he had it coming. You know what I'm saying? Like
he dodged a bullet in that fight. And
then like completely showed out though was fucking taunting Walker after the fight and doing that dance and shit, like, you know. And I like Johnny Walker for how he builds up a fight and shit, but the dude seems pretty respectful after fights. Corey Anderson did kind of the complete opposite in that fight. And but yeah, man, Blachowicz is, I mean, you might as well make John a minus 5,000 favorite in that fight. That fight literally does nothing for me. That
might be why John wants to take it. I mean, I would say that's an easier win than the rematch against Reyes.
Yeah, it's definitely easier. I will say, though, we know John fighting guys second times. I don't think the second Reyes fight would be as close as the first, personally.
The only thing different there is usually there's some time between the rematch.
Yeah.
When it's an instant rematch, it might be a bit of a different story, but yeah, I agree.
That'd be better for Reyes the faster it happens. Absolutely, because we know how John is a maniac, and him and Winklejohn are going to go to the gym, him and Brandon Gibson, and they're going to break down every single thing about that fight, and John will be much better in the second fight. But that's the fight I want to see. I don't want to see him fight fucking Blachowicz. Run Reyes back. That was a really, really good fight. I'd like to see it again.
And I feel like the rematch sells a lot more and makes John more money.
Oh, it's going to be huge. Like if they did it now, like coming off, like everybody, all the casual fans literally think Jon Jones stole some kind of fight. They don't even think it was close. Jon Jones got blown out. Every casual I hear literally like, how'd they let John steal that fight? No, it's like that fight would be big. It'd be really big.
Your thoughts, Jay?
He won 3 rounds.
I mean, I just don't care. I don't know.
That's the problem.
Yeah, because none of this seems like it matters, because it's all just, it's all a battle to get the silver medal. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird situation. It's a weird situation with a guy like him, man. It really is.
I mean, but Jones has been challenged in recent times. He hasn't been dominant, but like it's just, I don't know. Until someone beats the king, I mean, it's all, I don't know. All seems for naught.
You need to be making those, quote unquote super fights with him to have most people's interest. Me personally, I'm down with anytime Jones fights.
It's nice to see the fresh matchups, but only outside, Reyes is the only challenger I was like actually interested in, because I think he's pretty good. The other guys are all, I don't know, like kind of journeymen, really. Like all the other challengers, like talking about Thiago Santos and Blachowicz and Anthony Smith. These guys are journeymen.
I'd like to see the Volkan fight. I'd like to see him against Volkan. But outside of that, there's not a lot unless he moves up and gets a title shot or fights the Hog, and nothing's gonna make you get completely totally jacked up for a Jones fight, I think now, unless it's some super fight like that. But there was some fresh matchups, but like you said, I think a lot of people felt Reyes was the guy. Then outside of Reyes, like, who really is there that you think can give him? Just not really nobody at 205, man.
It's ugly. Very ugly. All right, so let's move on to this week's card. We're in Auckland, New Zealand, so international card. I'm not sure what time this card airs at, but
I think it's normal time. The prelims start at like 4 Eastern.
Oh yeah.
And then the main card, I believe, starts at
which is probably like
8?
Which is probably like 6 p.m. Eastern.
So they're doing one of those like morning afternoon.
It's not
cards there, right? Well,
it'll be early.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like 14 hours or something difference, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, it's at least. Let me look it up.
Let me see what Australia's 14-hour difference.
Yeah, but they're east of them.
So it's.
Let me just look. I'm curious. Okay.
It's 3:46 p.m. there right now.
It's 18 hours ahead of Eastern time.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it'll be a little more afternoon type.
So what time did you say it's starting Eastern time, Newsham?
4 is the very first fight.
So that'll be 10 a.m. It'll be 10 a.m. Eastern time would be the first fight. Or 10 a.m. 10 a.m. local time.
Sunday card, Sunday morning
afternoon
card.
Like 10 to 5. It's I guess it could be worse. All right, well, fine. Let's oh man, first fight. One of the worst fights. Oh my god. Priscilla Cachoeira, which I thought means hot dog, like Cachoeira. I thought that means hot dog in Portuguese.
Hot dog.
Yeah, Priscilla hot dogging versus Shayna Dobson.
A combined 1-5 in the UFC is what we're going to be starting the card with.
Yeah, they're Dobson is literally like 1 for her last 4, and she's a -220 fade. Get the fuck out of here, man.
It's bad.
Stay away from this shit.
Yeah, I put no effort into looking into this fight because it's a fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah, who wants to? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, that's bad. Let's forget it. Let's move on. Not like this fight's much better. Takashi Sato, not a very good fighter, taking on Maki Pitolo. Is that correct, Wes? Do you know what Maki Pitolo is?
Coconut Moms.
Oh.
Yeah, he looked good on his Contender Series fight, but his last time out against a guy later on the card that I don't think is very good either. I mean, he looked like shit. I mean, Sato, he beat the ghost of Ben Saunders and shit, got fucked up by Bilal. I don't really know what to think about this, man. I'll probably pick the dog here and Tout Master, and that's all I got. Don't put no money on this fight.
New Shaun.
Weird fight. Hawaii versus Japan in New Zealand.
That's all you got?
I don't really understand it. I don't know who's going to win this fight. Sato, like Wes said, he looked okay, but that against Saunders, but I think anybody can pretty much look good against Saunders.
Fine.
I really, really don't care. This is going to be a struggle. I'll pick Sato just because he has a UFC win.
Okay. I'll take the new guy because I don't really care about Sato, and he hasn't shown me anything that makes him worthy of being considered. But anyway, let's move up to is this another women's fight?
You're damn right it is. Boo me. Fuck you.
Loma look booing me.
Boo me, fuck you.
Taking on the really? Like, now I gotta look this up. Like, Angela Hill's back. When did she fight? Last week?
It was
about a
January
month ago.
25th. It was less than a month ago.
Yeah.
What are we doing with our lives?
Sixth fight of the calendar year. I think it's going to be a UFC
March
record.
2019, April 2019, June 2019, September 2019, January 2020, February 2020. Wow. And if she's 3-2 in those fights with losses to Marcos and the Chinese fighter, not the non-champion Chinese fighter, and then wins over Jody Escobar, something called Ariane Carnelossi, and Hannah Cybers. So, yeah. All right. Wes, is Angela Hill getting a W in this fight? Yes or no?
Yeah, I like her in this fight.
Wow.
I think Angela Hill is really improved her game. She throws a lot of volume. She comes forward, which is big in most MMA fights for judging. Her cardio was very good. She's going to be way bigger than this girl. I think her reach is going to play a big part, and I think she gets a pretty easy decision in this fight. I like Angela Hill for a parlay piece, and I don't usually bet on a lot of chicks, but I think she gets it done there.
Mm-hmm. You, Shaun?
Yeah, that makes two of us. I like Angela Hill here as well. She's definitely been getting better, rounding out her MMA game. Like, she was a pretty decent kickboxer, and that was pretty much it when she came into the UFC. Now she actually has some ground skills. She even took Cyphers down last time and smashed her on the ground. I just think she's better. This boomy fuck you beat pretty much an Instagram model last time, not really a UFC fighter. So I like her here. I put her in a parlay for 2 units with a guy coming up.
I'm smoking way too much weed.
I didn't write my grades down this week, so and I candidly don't care. But hey, the doll finally got engaged with Wes after all these years. Oh my God, sorry.
I mean, once you're like, fuck, man, my hair is like gone. You better get a ring on it. I asked Lance about that. He probably got that ring on the finger real quick.
Yeah, he had to. Before he left college, there was no time.
Lock that shit down.
Luke Mooney's not terrible. I mean, there's worse fighters, but I mean, Hill's a way more complex fighter, and actually has a fairly complete ability. Has shown some grappling prowess in recent fights. Can do some damage on the ground. Plus, pretty decent striker and a good athlete. So I'll take Hill here. Why not? And we obviously know that she's fresh and running on pretty good confidence after the finish in her last fight. So sure, why not? One fight I've been looking forward to on this card. I can't believe he's back. Tyson Nam. Wow, taking on Kai Kara France. Can you believe Tyson Nam is back?
We fought Sergio Pettis.
He fought. That was when he came back.
That was months ago.
You believe they gave him another chance?
Well, I mean, they don't have very many flyweights, so I mean, I guess they can hang on to a couple.
6-year-old flyweight. Think about that.
I think this could end up looking a lot like that fight, actually. I think France should be able to piece him up here, man. I'm not the biggest France fan, but he ran into Brandon Moreno last time out that probably looked as good as that kid has ever looked. I don't know what Moreno started eating, or maybe he got down to Brazil, got some of those mountain yams, but Moreno just looked absolutely outstanding last time out against France, and I don't think France fought a horrible fight or anything. Nam's just old, man, and down at this weight class, you need all the speed you can get, and I just think France is gonna piece him up pretty much like Pettis did, and will win a pretty easy decision here.
All right, Shaun.
Yeah, I think Kai Kara-France wins. He should be able to keep it on the feet, and he should have the decent striking advantage. He'll obviously be a lot quicker than Nam, but I really don't want to lay, minus 260, minus 270, whatever it is on France. He is in close fights. Ever since he's been in the UFC, he hasn't had a finish. He had a lot of finishes on the regional scene, but doesn't seem to be able to carry that into the upper echelon. So he can be in close fights. I think he lost that Paiva fight. The De La Rosa fight was probably closer than it should have been, and then lost a decision to Moreno. So I'll steer clear of betting him, but I think he does get it done and hopefully makes it look pretty easy.
Okay. I got. This is a good question. I mean, I certainly don't like Tyson Nam. I think it's just so hard to compete in this flyweight division at such an advanced age. I mean, this is the division that relies on speed the most. Kai Kara-France pretty quick, really good hand speed. I mean, Nam's so slow. I mean, he just can't keep up. And in a weight class where speed is, again, the most important, and you can't keep up, it's over. Like, the guys can fall off a cliff in this weight class because of the speed. That's required. So I'll take Kai Kara-France here. I think this is one of the more easy plays to make on the card. I don't remember Callan Potter, but he's taken on, is it Song Kanan or is it Kanan Song?
No, it's Song Kanan.
Sure.
Yeah, I know Potter got a win last time out against a guy that we just talked about, but man, 35 years old. I don't think much of Potter here. I think Song should be able to pretty much get this fight wherever he wants to and beat up Potter in this spot. I'm considering a bet on Song here, but the Chicklet Man's already on a couple spots that I liked on this card, and probably my biggest bet, the Chicklet Man is already trying to mush, so I'm not sure if I want to take that many chances on putting money on stuff that dude is probably mush. So I'm gonna pick Song. I think he wins this fight pretty easily. I want to bet him, but there's just a lot of bad juju going against him. So I'll pick him as of right now, and might look at betting him, but I'll have to think about it.
All right, Shaun.
A lot of time with these Asian fighters, like we just don't know how they're gonna how their wrestling defense is gonna hold up, just because a lot of times they're kind of sheltered, and you don't know until they get matched up with somebody who actually has some takedowns. So I think he has the skills to stuff the takedowns from Potter anyway. Potter isn't anything too special, but he does get some takedowns. So I'm steering clear of Song Kanan. I think he stuffs the takedowns and lights Potter up on the feet, but I'm not confident enough that he can stuff those takedowns to bet him.
Yeah, I'm with Shaun. I think Kanan hits way more power. I think he's definitely scary in that regard. Potter, I think, is kind of a can. Not a scientific play by any means, but I'll take Song Kanan by finish, by knockout. But again, we'll see here. I mean, if he doesn't get the knockout, he could falter, especially in the later part of this fight. Definitely some name recognition in this one. We got Justin Bieber taking on my favorite Nordic rapper, Emil Meek. Or is it Meek Mook? Last you can choose.
Meek Mook. Well, we already got a Meek Mill, so let's just go Meek Mook.
Meek Mook.
Yeah, Meek Mook. Meek the Mook. Yeah, I mean, most know I like Jake Matthews quite a bit as a fighter. I think the kid has gotten a whole lot better over the past couple of years. Moving up to 170 was definitely the right decision for him. I thought he was looking good in the Tony Martin fight. he was on his way to winning against Tony Martin. That would have been 4 in a row for him. He got caught by Tony Martin. Props to him. But I like Jake Matthews quite a bit. I mean, skill wise here, it's not even close. We know what Meek's gonna do. He can do it for a few minutes, and then the dude starts to gas. I mean, you can look at the guy and tell that those muscles are going to be a problem later in fights. And I think Jake Matthews is skilled enough to stay away from any big stuff that Meek's going to throw at him for a round and a half, and he's going to start taking over and could possibly even get a finish later in this fight. So, I like Jake Matthews here, like him as a parlay piece, and I will be betting on him.
Okay, new Shaun.
Matthews is going to wrestle the shit out of Meek. Mm-hmm. Meek is an absolute fucking fish. He got taken down 6 times by Fabinski. Yep. He got taken down 8 times by Usman. I mean, that's Usman for fair enough. But he also got taken down 3 times by Jordan Mean. So a couple of those guys, not elite takedown guys, and he got ragdolled by them. So I really expect Jake Matthews to do the exact same. He's got decent wrestling. If he's able to stuff those takedowns, I think Matthews can do all right on the feet. And like Wes said, I think the wrestling is going to really tire Meek down, and Matthews might be able to get a finish. I put Matthews in with the Hill parlay. I got it at plus 124 for 2 units.
Yeah, this is a really tough fight. I find these guys to be very, very similar in terms of overall skill set. I mean, Meek, I think, is a little bigger, a little more mature, but his performances, I think, are even less consistent somehow than Matthews, which kind of go up and down. And when he faces adversity, he almost always fails. Will he get the adversity here from Meek? That's really the key question. Matthews certainly, again, can utilize the grappling to secure takedowns, and will that, he can certainly do well early. Will he tire out? Can the Meek the Mook actually stop takedowns at all during this fight? It's tough to say. I lean towards Matthews, but I'm not as confident as the other guys here because I just feel Matthews has had some shit to bed moments, and he just typically doesn't power through a guy like this. So I think it's a bit of a buyer beware. All right. That's not the undercard. There's still, I got nothing to say here. We got Jalen Turner and something called Joshua Culabao. Wes, do you know anything about Culabao?
Cute labia's uglier, less used brother. I don't know. This I don't know much at all about this guy. Haven't even looked at the clips that our boy Honky's posted of him. I know he was fighting on some shit, Urban Fight Night and Diamondback FC 7 and shit. Like, look, Jalen Turner should tune this guy up, but do I want to lay fucking minus 200 on Jalen Turner right now? Absolutely not. That guy is very mooky as well. We saw it in his last fight, but man, if he can't beat this guy, I don't know. I mean, the athleticism difference should just be off the fucking chart. So I'm going to pick Jalen Turner. More than likely, we'll probably be saying after this fight I'm an absolute idiot for not taking Jalen Turner at 2-1 against some guy like this, but there's just things about Turner that scare me, man. So I'm going to just sit back and watch it. But if Jalen Turner doesn't smoke this guy, then he's got some serious questions to answer.
New Shaun.
This Culabao has just been beating the shit out of just regional, terrible Australian guys. Last guy he fought was 8-9 or is 8-9. So that's kind of the guy we're dealing with. Like he did what he was supposed to. He finished him in the first round. So I guess you got to give him that. But like Wes said, Jalen Turner should smash this guy. if he doesn't, then he definitely should not be in the UFC. And even if this guy beats him, he probably shouldn't be in the UFC either. So I'll pick Jalen Turner, but no chance I'm betting him.
Yeah, I think Wes laid this out perfectly on this fight. This is a guy Turner really needs to beat. He's incredibly big for the weight class. And it's just a fight that he needs to get a result on. If he doesn't get a result here, I think this career is over for him. I think he's been a little bit of a disappointment, but there's still time if he can actually get a finish here and work his way up. All right, we got featherweight Kevin Aguilar against Zubaira Tukhugov, and easily one of the top few fights on this fight card, without question.
Everybody loves the tug job.
Hey, when in Macau, you know.
As long as you have the mask.
I heard some tug stories in Vegas from Asian trips. Although, we'll leave it at that.
Where's he going with this?
We'll leave it at that. Yeah, this is a really fun fight, man. Really even fight, I think. Tukhugov, I think he needed his last one, man. I think it was almost 4 years that he had been off coming into his last fight. Fought a pretty tough dude. I think that ended up going to a split draw. So I think he needed that fight being off that long. I've been a big Kevin Aguilar fan. I watch a lot of the LFA and that shit. And I think he was champ on there.
Yep.
So yeah, he did have the belt, and then came over to UFC, got a couple wins, and then ran into a guy that I think is just turning into a really, really good fighter. I think we all think that about Dan Edge. Was in a really tough spot in that fight. Yeah, I don't know. This one's really tough for me to pick, man. I think Aguilar's got a little bit more of an advantage on the feet than Tukhugov. I know Tukhugov likes to strike a little more than most of these Russian guys. I think if he dirties it up though a little bit, he's probably stronger in the clinch and on the mat than Aguilar. Aguilar's got pretty decent takedown defense, so yeah, I could see this fight going a few different ways. I'm gonna pick Tukhugov. I just think he's a little bit more superior in the athleticism division. He's going to be the stronger guy. If he can dirty the fight up a little bit, keep it in close and tight, not let Aguilar sit back and dictate the striking range, I think he can slip by with a decision here. But, man, this is a coin flip fight and a really, really good fight. So just a pick on Tukhugov, no bet as of right now.
Okay. New Shaun.
Yeah, I think the odds are pretty on point for this one. It's a close fight. There's a decent amount of unknowns. Tug job was off, like Wes said, for like 3.5 years before he fought. What was it, Lerone Murphy? And that was kind of a letdown. But I guess maybe Murphy isn't too bad. But I guess that you can chalk that up to ring rust, and maybe Murphy's better than we thought. But it's tough to know. Like he does have decent takedowns. He gets about 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. From what we've seen from Aguilar, he's got a pretty decent takedown defense. Dan Edge was able to take him down once, and that's about it. I think it's gonna be a close fight. I really don't see an edge here. I think Aguilar is probably more of a guy that can push through some resistance, but I really don't know. I'll pick Aguilar, but yeah, like I said, no clear edge in this one.
Yeah, you're right. I think this is a tough fight to kind of score. Both these guys are going to be willing to push and try to control the action. I think Aguilar's volume in prolonged standing exchanges is going to be a major difference. And that's why I lean towards him winning this fight. Is just more strikes thrown. Even if there's barely any strikes landed in this fight, which seems plausible, then it's going to be the more active guy who wins the fight, and that's going to be Kevin Aguilar to get the W.
Chiclets on Aguilar for.
I know. Don't remind me.
Just so you know.
There's the problem. All right, something called Brad Riddell taking on my dude Magomed Mustafayev. Wes.
Yeah, look, maybe I'm wrong here. I guess I could be. I've seen Riddle his UFC fights, his one UFC fight. Talking about a can crusher coming into the UFC. But man, Mustafa at minus 130 or so against this guy. Mustafa's lost like one fight in the past 8 years. That was to a pretty decent guy in Kevin Lee. That was probably the better wrestler than him. Like, do we really think Mustafayev is not going to be the better wrestler in this fight against a fucking Australian dude? Like, come on, man. Maybe I'm completely missing something here. If I am, then I'll lose. But I'm going to be on Mustafayev fairly big here. Minus 130. I don't get it. Like I said, maybe I'm completely wrong, but one loss in the past 8 years, and you're going to tell me that he should only be, a slight favorite against this guy. Come on, man. Prove me wrong. Mustafayev, pretty big for me.
Shaun?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Wes said here. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight, and I give Mustafayev a pretty decent edge in the stand-up. Obviously, he was out for a really long time. He had a really good streak before losing to Kevin Lee, and then he was off for 3 years almost. Good fight when he came back against Fiziev. That was an unreal finish. Yeah. I don't really get the hype with Riddell either. He's another one of these guys just crushing cans on the regional scene. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I only played Mustafayev small just because I don't know. This almost seems too good.
It's worrisome, ain't it? Yeah, it's a little worrisome.
I don't know. So I'm a little hesitant. I got Mustafayev at minus 117 or something, 115 for a unit.
Yeah,
hopefully I don't kick myself for going small on him.
Man, this is a pretty easy fight to score. I like Mustafayev here. He's a meaner. He's tougher. He's got a lot of finesse in his strikes. He's super dangerous, and he's going to be the guy who's just nowhere near the technical proficiency as him in this bout. So I like Magomed Mustafayev to win this bout and to bet, and it's also our consensus. This is our consensus bet of the week, isn't it? Pretty sure it is.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's right. Magomed Mustafayev minus 135.
Minus 129 you can get it at Bet Online.
Well, if you don't have Bet Online, then probably minus 135.
Yep.
All right. 4 fights left on the card. We got fat heavyweights coming on. We got Ben Sassoli taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Yeah, look, de Lima is as mookie as they come. This guy will lay down and fucking quit if the shit gets tough. So if you must bet this fight, I would say take the dog or pass. Me personally, I'm passing. I'll pick the dog and Toutmaster.
All right. New Shaun.
I can't believe that de Lima's still in the UFC. I mean,
how?
How the hell are they're just matching him up every second time he goes against a shit guy after he's decent, and then they give him just an absolute cupcake and he wins. He's alternated wins and losses pretty much the last 8 fights or something. Both these guys are pretty terrible. Sassoli is okay. He looked okay against Greg Hardy, but I really, really don't give a shit about these terrible ass heavyweights. I'll pick de Lima.
Yeah, and Wes, wait, never mind.
That's you.
Yeah, I know. I mixed up my names. I'm going to go with de Lima, candidly, just because way more power. But if this goes beyond the round, it's like, can de Lima really win? I mean, I think he got a decision win as like one of his last times out, and I was like stunned that it happened. But he's really like a 1-round fighter. He's dangerous in the first round, especially if he gets top control. But yeah, don't want to bet this either, but I have to take De Lima over the Kansas solely. 3 fights left in the card. We got Karolina Kowalkiewicz returning, and then facing a Chinese fighter, Jan. I don't know how you say this.
Yanan.
Yanan.
Mm-hmm.
Yanan is 11-1 in her career, with her only loss a long time ago, 10 years ago actually. So, all right, Wes, any thoughts on this women's bout?
Yeah, Yanan is actually peaking in her career, and I think Kowalkiewicz is just, man, there's been few that's fallen off as fast and as hard as she has over the past year. I think that's about all this fight comes down to. Yanan's going to win a pretty easy decision. I really wish he was in minus 260 because that's probably not going to let me bet on her. I just can't lay that kind of juice on a chick fight, but she should absolutely take an easy decision here.
New Shaun?
Yeah, I just refuse to lay that kind of juice on a lady that is questionable.
A lady.
Koala Bear. If a dude would have came out and said what she said, everybody would have been like telling her to retire. But luckily, she's a chick fighter, and chicks don't hit that hard, so she's not gonna get too much brain damage, even if she continues to fight, even though she knows that she's never gonna, get anywhere near a title fight ever again. Yeah, the pick's got to be Yanan. She looks pretty good, but like I said, not laying minus 260.
Yeah, I like Yanan too. She's impressed me in her last couple bouts. I think she's certainly one of the rising fighters in this weight class. And Kowalkiewicz, not as good on the feet as she used to be, not as much volume, just kind of falling off pretty significantly when she fights. Yeah, you have the Chinese fighter here. Yanan to continue the run going. All right, we got Jimmy Crute, Lance's boy, taking on.
That's Wes's boy.
Wes's boy.
Hey, I thought
my boy beat Lance's boy.
Yeah. Taking on someone called Michael Olowokandi.
Yeah, it's the Candyman.
Candyman. Sweet. Wes, what do you remember about the Candyman?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty decent fight. I will say, man, my boy Kurt was on his way, just skyrocketing it up, man. And hell, even a minute into the Sarkanoff fight, I was like, God damn, this kid is pretty good. And he got caught, man. Got caught with just an absolutely fantastic choke by Sarkanoff. That was some nice shit. But man, he had Sarkanoff in all kinds of trouble, man. Was looking pretty good, and that was in the biggest spot of his entire career up to that point. I'm on him small in this fight. I do think this is kind of a tricky fight for him. I think the Candyman is a pretty decent fighter. Got caught by Ovens his last time out in the Von Flu, like a lot of fucking people do. So. But still, if you look a little deeper in it, that was not a great loss for Olowokandi in that fight, man. And I think Crew can make this kind of ugly, dude, and try to get it down like he did against Sarkanoff. And I'm not sold on the Candyman on the ground. And I think if Crew can get it there, he can win this fight. And I'll take the slight dog money on my boy Jimmy Crew. Nothing big though. I think it's a tricky fight for him, so just a small bit.
All right, New Shaun, are you gonna put your money on this one too and follow Wes's lead?
I'm not touching this one. I could see maybe live betting it after the first. I think the Candyman has a decent shot at knocking out Crute early, but if Crute can survive and kind of grind on Olowokandi, then it could be a rough fight after the first round. That loss against OSP, I had money on Olowokandi and I expected more from him, but for some reason, every once in a while OSP just confuses the fuck out of people, and somehow he Von Flus chokes everyone. anybody that's shitty on the ground anyway. So I'm steering clear. I definitely think Jim Crute probably has the better future, but sometimes that doesn't matter, and Olo Candy has heavy hands. But I'll pick Crute.
You make a good point. That Crute may have a better future. He's younger. Seems a little more charisma.
Rounded.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think his best traits are as good as Olekshuk's. This is tough though. I don't know. I think it's probably one of the toughest fights to call on the card. I think obviously Crute fighting near his home is an advantage. Is it advantage enough to get the W? Don't know. I mean, it seems like a fight is going to go to a decision. So I think this is another classic case of buyer beware. All right, main event. We have a good lightweight matchup. 2 top 15 guys. We have Paul Felder taking on Dan Hooker. Wow. Dan Hooker, huh? Pretty competitive lightweight battle. Pretty meaningful, as they move up this weight class. I know, Wes, you're excited for this bout.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good fight. Should be a really good fight to watch as well. I think there should be some pretty good action. I think most of it's just going to be a kickboxing match, which I don't mind. I just feel that Felder's just probably getting a little old at this point. The guy's been in some pretty pretty rough fights over the past couple years. Outside of that just beautiful, devastating fucking beatdown of our boy tall guy defense.
No Dick Vic.
Yeah. I like Dan Hooker in this matchup, man. I just the fresher, younger guy fighting in his hometown, man. Hooker has looked really good his last couple out. Outside of the Barboza fight, which he took a pretty good beating in. I think people, including myself, were a little worried, how he would react coming off of a beating like that. And I think he's passed those questions with flying colors his last 2 out. And man, outside of that Barboza fight, I mean, this guy's beaten some pretty good fighters, man. I think this is gonna come down to his length against Felder. I mean, Felder doesn't always deal well with that length. I think he did a little better in the second Barboza fight dealing with Barboza's length, but man, he still gets hit a lot. And I think Dan Hooker can hit him a lot. Not sure Hooker gets a finish here. It could come in the later rounds. This is a 5-round fight, so but I just think Hooker's stand-up is a little bit better than Felder's at this point. He's the fresher, younger guy at home. The length is going to be a problem for Felder. Hooker should be able to just sit outside and pick on Felder for most of this fight. So I got a little bit of minus 140. It's starting to creep up a little bit, but I like Hooker quite a bit here, and going to be a pretty good bet for me.
Okay, new Shaun.
Yeah, I got to agree with Wes again. I like Hooker here as well. I think a lot of the things Wes touched on are on point. Hooker's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's the younger guy. It's in his hometown. His camp has been unbelievable lately. It seems like they're just crushing it. His activity is higher than Felder's, and I think his cardio is even better than Felder. So Felder might be able to eke out a couple of the early rounds just because it might be close, but I think Hooker picks up, kind of gets the ball rolling downhill and kind of takes over in the last 3 rounds. So I like Hooker. I think it's going to be an awesome fight, and I bet him for 2 units at minus 137. Yep.
Could you imagine just a few years ago what we were saying about Australian and New Zealand fighters and camps and shit? And now literally they have one of the best camps in the world down there. There's some legitimate fighters that train with them guys now. It's pretty crazy how good that area's gotten.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty good main event. I rate these guys around the same. I think that certainly leans towards an advantage in this fight to Hooker, just because fighting in his home area. He's younger than Felder. Felder has a good amount of wear and tear. Maybe Hooker has a speed advantage in this bout too, and a little bit longer. I don't think it's a slam dunk by any stretch, but I think this could be a pretty compelling fight. I also think maybe that Hooker can take a bit more. We've seen some of his fights, how much damage he can potentially take and kind of find a way through. So I'm going to lean towards Hooker, but this is not a fight I'm looking to bet, but I'm very excited to watch it. Okay, tried to do a quick show this week. As this card was kind of so-so for us in terms of the excitement. We have a couple, better fight cards coming up. Obviously, a pay-per-view coming in March as well. But yep, we'll be back. I mean, I think we have a lot of UFC events coming up, right? Is there finally a week off?
No, next week we're fighting for the flyweight championship.
Oh shoot, I forgot. Wow. Is that a TV card? No.
No, it's a ESPN Plus card.
Plus card with a title fight. Hooray.
Don't forget, you got Wilder and Fury this weekend too, boys.
Canadian. Oh, yeah.
That's the big fight this weekend.
Yes, it is. That's going to be fucking awesome.
It better be.
I like some Fury for anybody interested.
I bet you do.
Dog money on
Gypsy
Fury.
King. Gypsy.
Get it.
Gypsy man. We got. Yep, that would be great. Yeah, that's definitely exciting event this weekend. So check that out. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the fights.